To the September 14th edition of the Downers Grove Village Council meeting. In keeping with best practice guidance from the CDC, IDPH, and DuPage County Health Department, we are once again expecting those who are in village buildings, including this one, to wear masks. As is our custom, we'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rosa, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Barnett,
Here.
Commissioner Jose,
Here.
Commissioner Wallace,
Here.
Commissioner Sadowski-Fugit,
Here.
Commissioner Colavini,
Here.
Commissioner Gilmartin,
Here.
Commissioner Glover.
Here. They're all in attendance. Great. Good to see everyone. Is there a motion concerning minutes of previous council meetings?
Mayor, I move that the council adopt the September 7th, 2021 minutes as presented.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Just like that, we're on to item 4 of our meeting. We have a couple of proclamations tonight. Starting with National Preparedness Month. Whereas National Preparedness Month is an observance each September which is designed to raise awareness about the importance of preparing for disasters and emergencies that could happen at any time. And whereas the village of Downers Grove is not immune to tornadoes, floods, power outages, heat waves, blizzards, deep freeze, pandemics, and other disasters, both natural and man-made. Whereas the Federal Emergency Management Agency's theme for 2021, Prepare to Protect, preparing for disasters is protecting everyone you love. Whereas the FEMA's Ready campaign has identified the Latino community as a key audience and will launch a series of public service advertisements specifically designed to encourage preparedness within underserved demographics. And whereas emergency preparedness is the responsibility of every citizen, and when individuals take responsibility for preparing their families and their communities, the chance of survival and return to normalcy following a disaster is greatly increased. And whereas National Preparedness Month is also an opportunity to pay tribute to our first responders who put themselves at risk in the care of their fellow citizens. And whereas, in the event of any disaster or other large-scale emergency, it is our first responders, including local law enforcement officers, firefighters, and paramedics, public works professionals, who, when properly trained and equipped, have the greatest potential to save lives and limit casualties after a disaster. Now, therefore, I, Robert T. Barnett, Mayor of the Village of Downers Grove, do hereby proclaim September 2021 as National Preparedness Month in the Village of Downers Grove, and encourage all citizens, families, organizations, civic groups, religious institutions, and businesses to develop their own emergency preparedness plan, working together toward creating a more prepared and resilient society, and to find and take opportunities to thank those members of our law enforcement community, firefighting, emergency medical, and public works professionals that stand always prepared to serve our community. Dated this 14th day of September, 2021, Downers Grove, Illinois. We're going to pass this off to our own emergency management coordinator, Jenny Rizzo. I have another proclamation this evening. Special award. Whereas Dave Humphreys is being presented with the Downers Grove Historical Society's Montrose Dunham Award for 2021, which was established in 2019 to honor those whose significant service and contributions to the Village of Downers Grove have earned them a place in its history. Whereas Dave Humphreys is a lifelong resident of Downers Grove, having been born here and having made his home here for close to 8 decades. And whereas he attended Longfellow Grade School, Herrick Middle School, and Downers Grove, now North, High School, which gave him a Distinguished Alumni Award in 2009. Whereas he has also earned hometown honors such as Citizen of the Year Award from the Chamber of Commerce in 1997. And whereas he serves as a trustee for the library, served as past producer of Heritage Festival, and continues in that capacity for Rotary Grove Fest, is the Rotary Club Music Scholarship Program Administrator and award presenter for the Downers Grove Music Club's Piano Festival competition. And whereas he has also served on many Downers Grove municipal committees, boards, and commissions, such as community events, TCD 1 and 2, economic development and tourism, performing arts center viability, and others. And whereas the two-way street folk music venue he established has enriched the music world and brought prestige to the village, while his humanitarian efforts have helped the mentally ill, promoted anti-racism and immigration justice, assisted food and housing insecure people, promoted LGBTQ+ rights, among other things. And whereas his accomplishments benefit not only Downers Grove but beyond, and are reflected in the awards he has received, such as the 1999 Studs Terkel Humanities Service Award from the Illinois Humanities Council. Now, therefore, I, Robert T. Barnett, Mayor of the Village of Downers Grove, do hereby proclaim the week of September 12th through 18th, 2021, as Dave Humphreys Week in the Village of Downers Grove. And I encourage all members of our community to congratulate and thank Dave Humphreys on his lifetime of service, contributions to music, civic, and humanitarian causes, accomplishments, and his awards, as well as this upcoming award, the Downers Grove Historical Society's 2021 Montreux Dunham Award, dated this 14th day of September, 2021, Downers Grove, Illinois. And we have Dave here with us. We're very fortunate. Congratulations, Dave. This community is blessed in so many ways, not the least of which is its residents who serve it day in and day out and have for decades and decades. Congratulations, Dave. This takes us to item 5 on our agenda tonight, public comments. This is the portion of the meeting where we take public comment on items not on tonight's agenda. If you have something on your mind you want to bring to our attention, please come on down to the microphone. Okay, seeing none, we will move on. Item 6 is the consent agenda. Is there a motion concerning the consent agenda?
Mayor, I move that the council adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 7, our active agenda. This is the portion of the meeting where we plan to take action on items previously discussed. We have one item on our active agenda tonight. Is there an ordinance concerning downtown review standards?
Mayor, I move that the council adopt an ordinance amending downtown design review standards and renaming the Architectural Design Review Board as presented.
Second.
Are there any comments or questions from the audience on this item? Any comments or questions from the council on this item? Chris?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a few comments in terms of the way I'll be voting tonight, which will be no, and I do appreciate the commissioners who have worked on this, and I know their intention is in the right place. I'll not be supporting this for the same reasons I didn't support it during the first readings. I'm all for a downtown that has charm and vibrancy that we all seek, but I think this ordinance is a step too far in the way that it adds subjectivity, I would argue restrictions, potential delays on small business owners, property owners who might be looking to invest in our downtown. This ordinance basically says two businesses who are right next door to each other could be held to very different standards based on minor differences in design or desired work and outcome. Additionally, I think it adds more time to our staff, which I know some of our fellow commissioners, my fellow commissioners, have been quick to point out is already strapped based on current initiatives. I also would just like to point out in terms of the name change of the board, I certainly could support this as long as adding historical preservation doesn't create the impression that our village has more restrictions than we actually have. However, since the name change is attached to this ordinance, my no vote would apply to that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? Okay, I'll just weigh in here briefly. I concur with Commissioner Gilmartin. I have many of the same concerns, and I am questioning, I guess, as I have through this process, what exactly it is that we're solving or improving. I still struggle with that, so I'll be voting no, but then I'll be certainly encouraging and providing the staff necessary to execute the plan if it goes forward. Anyone else? Rosa, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace?
Aye.
Commissioner Glover?
Nay.
Commissioner Gilmartin?
Nay.
Commissioner Cullivaney?
Aye.
Commissioner Sadowski-Fugit?
Aye.
Mayor Barnett?
Nay. That motion passes 4-3. That is the only active agenda item we have. That takes us to the first reading portion of our meeting. This is the portion of the meeting where we begin discussion or continue discussion on subjects on which we do not plan to take formal action tonight. With that, I'll hand it over to Dave.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item on tonight's first reading agenda. It's an ordinance amending traffic control provisions at intersections along Fairmount. Here to present background information on this item is our Public Works Director, Andy Sikich.
Thanks, Dave. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I'm presenting proposed traffic control modifications along two different stretches of Fairmount Avenue. The first location is from 63rd Street to south of 65th Street. This review was initiated by a resident petition for traffic calming earlier this spring. The section of Fairmount Avenue is a local collector posted at 25 miles per hour. There are no traffic controls between 63rd Street and Oxford Street. Upon receipt of the petition, staff gathers traffic and speed data. Northbound, 457 vehicles per day were counted, with an 85% speed of over 36 miles per hour. And southbound, 622 vehicles were counted, with an 85% speed of just under 35 miles per hour. These volumes are consistent with the local collector, but the speeds are higher than desirable at about 10 miles over the speed limit. Staff's recommendation for traffic calming along this stretch is to provide center line striping and edge striping, which visually narrows the roadway, and then we would also work with the PD for some targeted enforcement. Staff also assessed the traffic control along this section of Fairmount, which currently only has yield signs at 65th Street, as you can see in the picture there. And you can see that the traffic volumes at this intersection are fairly similar on 65th and on Fairmount. As such, staff is recommending an all-way stop at Fairmount and 65th, and one leg stop control at Briargate and Crescent Drive, which currently do not have any controls. TAP reviewed these recommendations at the August 11th meeting and concurred with staff. Staff also reviewed a second location along Fairmount, also as a result of a resident request. This is a little farther south at the intersections of Fairmount and 72nd Street. I mean, in this location, you can see that the intersection at Fairmount and 72nd is actually split into two intersections, the north and the south. The existing configuration of these intersections is a little bit unusual. As you can see, in each case, there's stop control on just two of the three legs. So staff took traffic counts again in this location, and the numbers do not support the unusual 2 out of 3 leg stop control at either of these intersections, which can be confusing for drivers and for pedestrians. Staff is recommending that each of these intersections be converted to all-way stops, and in addition, we're recommending a stop sign at 72nd Court, which is currently uncontrolled. Again, the TAP Commission reviewed these at their August 11th meeting and concurred with staff's recommendations. And with that, I'll take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Andy. Any comments or questions from council on this subject? I got a couple. I'm not getting away that easy. Can you talk a little bit more, just so we understand, when you said that the traffic counts don't support a three-way stop? Tell us more about that. What would support a three-way stop? How's that work?
They don't support the two-way stop that's
two-way
currently
stop,
there.
okay.
So, for instance, if traffic flow warranted one leg of the 3 legs being significantly heavier than the other two, that might warrant a 2 out of 3 leg stop. It's kind of an unusual condition. We do have it in a couple other spots around the village, but in this case, there's really no obvious reason that we can see that these should have been 2 out of the 3 legs being stop control.
And then, this is a generic question, but looking at the maps, it brings it to mind. Do we have any either evidence or anecdotal opinions on the difference? We hear about traffic a lot in the village, as we all know. We've spent quite a bit of time on traffic in the last few months. Do we see different behaviors from drivers, either speeds or volumes? Really, speeds, I think, is my focus, in the grid portion of town versus the non-grid portion of town?
Even anecdotally, I don't know that we have that data, that we have any information that supports that one way or another.
Okay. All right. That's all, only questions I have. Rich, did you have anything?
Nope.
Okay. No? You got something? Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say thank you to staff. We've been talking a lot about traffic and safety, and I feel really good about these things that are going to be put into place, these traffic calming measures. I mean, again, this has been a big conversation of ours for the past few months. Safety is obviously a big issue, so very comfortable with what we're going to put in place here for those 2 neighborhoods. Thank you.
Are there any comments or questions from the audience on this item? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Andy.
You bet.
And that ends our first reading tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 9, our attorney's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Only one item tonight to present, and that's an ordinance amending traffic control provisions along Fairmount Avenue. It will be on next week's active agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 10 on our agenda are mayor and council member reports, an opportunity for council members to report out on goings-on in the community or other agencies they're connected with. We'll start, I'm going to look left and start to my right with Commissioner Cullivaney.
No report, Mayor. Thank you.
Leslie.
No report, Mayor.
Nicole.
I have a report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a new race in town, which I am so excited about. Grove Express is the new race on Thanksgiving morning. It is put on by 3 amazing organizations: the Education Foundation of Downers Grove District 58, Downers Grove Rotary Club, and Roadrunners Soccer Club. Please make sure to register before Friday, October 8th. That's coming up very quickly. We're already midway through the month of September. You can register at groveexpress.com. The start time is 8:30 a.m. on Thursday, November 25th. Same place that the Bonfield has run the past few years. Big thank you to the Bonfield Foundation, who has helped these 3 organizations with putting this race together and offering their expertise. That is all, Mayor.
That is exciting news.
It's very exciting news.
Fantastic. Danny, you have anything?
No report, Mayor. Thank you.
Chris?
No report, thank you.
Greg?
No report, Mayor. Thank you.
I have just a brief note. Last week's proclamations, many of you may recall, included a celebration of Community Adult Daycare's 35th anniversary. That celebration continues this weekend with their Shop and Stroll fundraiser. It's an opportunity to help CADC and enjoy our fantastic downtown at the same time. The event starts at 10 a.m. at the Main Street train station, includes thousands in prizes, literally. You can visit communityadultdaycenter.org for additional details. That takes us to item 11, our manager's report. Dave.
Thank you. I have a couple of reports tonight. I'll be giving a report and looking for council acceptance of the long-range plan, and then Mr. Baker has an update for us on the facilities. Staff is proud to present the 2021 to 2023 long-range plan for Village Council review and acceptance. The council developed this plan over the past 4 months in a series of public meetings, and the plan reflects the policy direction provided by the council. The long-range plan identifies trends and issues affecting the long-term future of the village, as well as strategies and solutions intended to address these issues. It establishes goals and priority action items that guide future policy decisions of this council, the preparation of annual budgets, and daily operations. The village has been using this long-range planning process for over a decade, and Standard & Poor's recognized this planning process as a key component to our continued AAA bond rating. The LRP, as we call it, contains 6 goals. 5 of these goals have been in place now for several years. This year, the long-range plan contains the goal, a safe community. This goal formalizes the village's ongoing focus on providing a safe environment for all members of the community. Six key issues have been identified and are included in the plan. Issues range from increasing cost of providing services to comply with state laws, which results in pressure to increase our property tax levy, to changes in criminal activity occurring in and around the village, to facilities and stormwater system needs. The long-range plan identifies strategies and solutions to address all of these issues. These issues and solutions have been on display in these two slides. I have not walked through each of them individually. If you're interested, they're in a lot of detail in the actual plan. The council has compiled 9 priority actions that will serve as our work plan until the next council is seated in May of 2023. Key actions include the construction of a new combined police station, village hall, and District 58 administration building right here on the Civic Center property, the development of social services referral program, installing camera systems to enhance policing efforts, and the consideration of video gaming for restaurants. This slide includes all 9 priority action items. 8 of these actions are already underway, and the plan itself that is included in your agenda materials includes an implementation schedule. As I just mentioned, the complete long-range plan is included in the online agenda materials, and this plan is presented tonight for Village Council acceptance. And staff is happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Thank you, Dave. Any council comments or questions for Dave? Reflections on the plan? Craig, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank staff for all the work on this. I know this is something that takes a tremendous amount of time. So thank you very much. I'll keep the rest of my comments brief. This is my plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to weigh in? Leslie, please.
Yes, again, thank you so much for all of the work on this plan. It all looks great to me. One thing that I've been thinking a little bit about and talking with some folks and residents is I just want to throw out there for police operations, just thinking a little bit about focusing more on a community building effort and doing more of that oriented policing. I don't know if that will have a big impact on budget or not, but especially as we've kind of gone through some of these major turning points in the country, we're at a good place where we can start to really think about rebuilding some of that trust. So one thing that I would like us to think about, and again, I don't know if it doesn't rise to the level of a priority action item, but just to keep in the back of our heads, I'd really like to see a little bit more of that building community between the residents and our police. But other than that, this is my plan.
Anyone else? Nicole?
Thank you, Mayor. Big thank you to staff. This is so much work. People don't realize how much work this is. And our staff does a really excellent job. Ditto what Commissioner Jose said. This is my plan. Thank you.
Thank you. This is my plan. There's a sort of an inside joke there. We've had some challenges in the past of getting that level of clarity. So it is nice to have that level of clarity. It's also kind of entertaining. Anyone else? Chris,
Real
please.
quick, I too want to thank staff, specifically, well, first I want to thank fellow commissioners. This was a lot of great discussion. My first time doing this, it was great to hear everybody's input, and this is also my plan, whatever that inside joke is. I also want to thank you for the addition of a safe community, because I do think that is an important piece to what we provide as we talk about traffic and we talk about policing and we talk about lots of different things. Safety is critical, and it does feel like the right fit. So I appreciate that addition to the plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Rich, please.
Yes, I'd also like to add my thanks to staff for a really great piece of work here involving so many departments. I'm most pleased that we're moving forward on facilities and that we're not starting from scratch on that we're using the previous work of other councils and the previous excellent work that the staff did on this. I think it's important to not lose momentum. I thank my new colleagues for your willingness to get up to speed quickly on that and say, okay, we've done our homework and we think that was good work. So I think the community will thank you for that. I guess a general point I would like to make is with some of these items, they're measurable. So I'd like us to take notice of our starting condition, and for those items that are measurable, what was our level of improvement? And that kind of goes to my comments during one of the sessions on economic development, that we actually track the before and after statuses as we put in a new development. For instance, this particular parcel, let's say it's Washington and Maple, was had this much EAV, equalized assessed valuation, was bringing this much tax revenue, and as a result of that, after it's online and fully up to speed, we could look back and say, okay, we've broadened our tax base by whatever that amount should be. And I'd like to see that measurement throughout projects to actually show the impact that economic development has on spreading that tax burden across a wider base. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Anyone else? I'll just add my thanks to everybody as has been set up here, but I want to underscore what Commissioner Gilmartin said with the thanks to our colleagues. I don't want to diminish staff's role. Obviously, they have a huge role, but it's a lot of work by this team sitting up here as well. And frankly, for all the traffic calming that we look at, and there's a lot of it, but this is the work that I was looking back, started in May 11th was our first introduction of this. This is the work that shapes our village for the next 2 or 3 years. It has a meaningful and substantial impact on what service we deliver and how we deliver them and where we deliver them. It's really a big deal. It seems a little bit anticlimactic at this point because we've had a dozen meetings going back several months. But this is where sort of the rubber meets the road. This is where when everybody in the village, whether it's employees or elected officials, gets up tomorrow morning, the work that we're going to start on, the work we're going to fill our days with. We'll adjust to pandemics and traffic petitions and everything else that comes along, but this is the work we're choosing to do, and it's very important. It's a big impact. So thank you to all of my colleagues. Work well done. And thank you to staff, too. We can't do it without you. In fact, you guys do all the heavy lifting. We know that. Looking forward to getting going on this.
So it would be appropriate if the council deems for a motion accepting the long-range plan.
Mayor, I move that the council accept the 2021 to 2023 long-range plan as presented.
Second.
Any last comments? Rosa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace?
Aye.
Commissioner Glover?
Aye.
Commissioner Gilmartin?
Aye.
Commissioner Culvaney?
Aye.
Commissioner Sadowski-Fugit?
Aye.
Mayor Barnett?
Aye. Unanimous direction forward. Good
Just want to
stuff.
thank the council for your policy making and policy direction. The long-range plan in this form is unique to the village of Downers Grove, and it has served us well. A great combination of policy making and staff analysis, so thank you. Commissioner Culvaney just mentioned proceeding with the facilities replacement and sustainability plan, and that's exactly what we're doing. And here to tell us where we are and to get some direction on next steps from the council is our Deputy Village Manager, Mike Baker.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. The purpose of this presentation is to provide an update regarding the priority action item, facility replacement and sustainability plan. Staff is also seeking direction from the Village Council regarding the engagement of designer and constructor for the project, and will summarize 2 options for council consideration. On June 15th, the Village Council discussed the facility replacement and sustainability plan as part of the village's long-range planning process. This plan would replace the existing Village Hall and police station with a combined facility located on the Civic Center site. The facility would also house District 58 administrative offices. The project will reconfigure Washington Street, the crossing, to improve safety, and also sell a portion of the site for a developer to construct an apartment building. At the June 15th meeting, the Village Council directed staff to proceed with the project and update the plan, which has been suspended since March 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The update to the plan includes 1, confirming continued interest in a potential partnership with School District 58, 2, reviewing and updating the space needs and programming information, 3, updating project cost estimates, and 4, updating scheduling information. I am happy to report that at its meeting last night, the District 58 Board of Education unanimously approved key terms for an intergovernmental agreement for this partnership. This follows Village Council approval of this same set of key terms back in August. In July, the village engaged FGM Architects to complete the remaining update items. The program and space needs for the new combined facility has been completed. The process for updating the program included meetings with each Village Hall department and police division, as well as District 58 officials. This exercise resulted in a total space program for the facility of approximately 77,000 square feet. FGM engaged Leopardo Construction to prepare the preliminary updated cost estimate. The cost estimate work will be completed by September 30th. However, initial indications suggest that the total project cost will be within the upper range that was presented to the Village Council as part of the long-range planning process, a range of between $48 to $54 million. Leopardo Construction also prepared a preliminary schedule that calls for a phased approach to construction that will allow Village Hall and the police station to remain operational while construction of the new facility takes place. The schedule indicates that construction could begin as early as the summer of 2022, with the final phase of village facility construction wrapping up in mid-2024. Construction of the apartment development would proceed immediately after this final phase of construction. As part of this presentation, staff is also seeking Village Council direction regarding the engagement of a designer and constructor for the project. 2 options have been identified. Option 1, engage the 2 firms that the village has had an established contractual relationship with already. These include FGM Architects and Leopardo Construction. This option will allow the village to move ahead with no delay in project schedule. If this option is selected, staff expects to present contracts for Village Council consideration in October. Both firms are qualified and capable of completing the design and construction work associated with this project. The costs of services will be negotiated, and staff will use cost information from similar projects as a basis for negotiating contract terms and costs. This option provides no opportunities for other design and construction firms to compete to provide these services. Option 2, conduct a qualifications-based selection process. This process would include a request for qualifications that would allow the village to pre-qualify firms that would be invited to respond to a request for proposal. Proposals would be evaluated, and the village would negotiate contract terms with the preferred vendors. This option will impact the project schedule. If FGM Architects and Leopardo Construction are selected at the end of the process, the schedule will be extended by about 3 to 4 months. If other firms are selected, it is expected that the schedule will be extended by another 2 to 3 months as the new firms review and confirm work completed by FGM and Leopardo. This means that under this option, contracts would be presented for Village Council consideration in the first quarter of 2022. This process will result in qualified firms performing the design and construction work. Staff will negotiate the cost for services. During the request for proposal process, competing firms will propose their cost of services, and this competition may influence negotiations. This option provides opportunities for all firms interested in this work. Each will be able to submit a response to the request for qualifications. Regardless of which option is selected, 2 possible construction delivery methods have been identified. These include the design-build delivery method and the construction manager at risk delivery method. Both meet the project goals of moving quickly, obtaining cost certainty early in the process, and having the designer and constructor work together throughout the entire project. Staff will present the recommended delivery method in conjunction with the contracts for design and construction. To summarize, Village Council direction that staff is seeking involves the process for engaging designer and constructor for the project. Under option 1, staff would engage FGM Architects and Leopardo Construction. Under option 2, staff would conduct a qualification-based selection process involving a request for qualifications and request for proposals. Staff is happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Anyone got any comments or questions from the council?
We can start on the left.
I'll kick it off.
Greg, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Mike, just a quick question on the delivery method. Design, build, or construction manager at risk. Talk to me a little bit more about what those are and our ability to get what's known in the industry as a guaranteed maximum price.
Both delivery methods will allow for and include a guaranteed maximum price established during the design phase of the process.
And the design build process essentially has the general contractor controlling the architect, as opposed to the other method, which is in which we would contract with both. Do I have that right?
That's correct.
Does staff have a preference at this point?
At this point, I don't believe there is a preference. We'll be working through the benefits, advantages, and disadvantages of each approach as we move forward in the negotiation process.
And what is the relationship like between staff and the team at FGM and Leopardo?
It's been extremely strong and professional throughout the entire duration of the time we've been working with both of those firms.
Very good. So with all of that in mind, you might have an idea of where I'm going. I think we should move forward with the team at FGM and Leopardo. Leopardo is a top quality general contractor. FGM does fantastic work. And when it comes to cost, we can lock in the guaranteed maximum price in either scenario, and we can do that with Leopardo or any other general contractor. But when you break down the costs that we're going to be facing, we're paying prevailing wage regardless of who we pick. And material costs are largely material costs. You can, anybody knows any of the general contractors that would do this know all of the different material suppliers out there. So it's really just a matter of time. And we can deliver the project faster if we move with FGM and Leopardo, and I think that's the way to go. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Greg. Rich?
Sure. I agree with what Commissioner Jose just said. We've been working on this for how long, Mayor? When you've been sitting up here the longest in this group? Several years, right? And
Been a while.
and we went to the altar and then we stepped away, and there was an expectation that we were going to move forward, and then we came to the altar again, and church full of people, and we still walked away, and we gained somewhat of a reputation that Downers Grove is never going to do this. So we have some partners we're working with that they went through the process, they bubbled up to the top, and staff tells me we have a high level of confidence. So this speaks to the whole issue that I mentioned before, the continuity and not slowing it down. So I'm going to be backing option 1 in the design and build with these particular partners.
Thank you. Others? Nicole?
Thank you, Mayor.
I agree with my colleagues that have spoken thus far with option 1. We have established relationships already with these 2 firms. We can move ahead with no delay. Both of these firms are qualified and capable, as stated by staff. So I see no reason to continue delaying any longer. As Commissioner Colavini mentioned, we've been here and gone and back here again countless number of times, and I am ready to move forward with this project. So I will be supporting option 1. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Leslie?
Yep, I will not repeat everything my colleague said. I'm in agreement. We have, again, as everyone said, the established relationship. You can see the breadth of work at the municipal level that FGM and Leopardo have done, if you take a look at some of their examples. And I have no doubt that with an already strong established relationship and understanding of this process and kind of where we've been over these last few years, I agree, this is the best option. We'll be able to move forward quickly, and we know we're going to get a quality product.
Thank you. Anyone else want to weigh in? Danny, go ahead.
I agree with the rest of my colleagues. I remain committed to moving quickly on the facilities project and I'm in favor of option 1. Seeing as we have a strong established relationship already, I don't see any reason to delay the process any further, so I'll be voting for option 1.
Thank you.
I support option 1. Thank you.
I'll just wrap up. You know, in anything, there's sort of 3 legs to the stool they talk about, right? There's quality, speed, and cost. And the joke in sales, of course, Rich, is pick 2, right? But I think, I really believe that's true, that any project has those elements of it, those fundamental elements, and everything is underneath one of those headings. And I'm convinced that quality and cost, in this case, are not materially affected by going to some sort of a rebid, public bid process. I think that we know, as Greg alluded to and Leslie alluded to, that both quality and cost are pretty well defined. It's a very narrow band. But I think that speed, timing, could be really affected. Mike, you laid out some of it. It could be a lot worse than that, because there's another part of this that when we talk about that relationship that we've built with these 2 folks, that's important for a variety of reasons, but not the least of which is, and you'll hear me probably over the next 3 or 4 years say this a number of times, there's some unpredictability to this whole thing. So something's going to get sideways, and I don't know what it's going to be. Everybody's going to work really hard to prevent that, but something will. And the resolution of whatever gets sideways is important. It's important to the process. It's important to our feeling about the final product. It's also important to the speed of the process, and that's where I think that relationship also can really benefit us. So I see no upside to the community of delay, and I see no upside to the community of holding out for tweaking along the way. I think that the best thing we can do now is proceed with people who we have confidence in and proceed quickly. So I'm in full support of doing that with FGM and Leopardo, and we'll learn more about those delivery methods in a few weeks. I think probably both of those would serve us well. We'll pick a favorite one of the 2, but I think we should move as fast as we can with the crew we've got. You guys need any additional information from us?
We thank you very much for the very clear direction. We'll continue to provide updates, and as Mike mentioned, we'll move quickly to get contracts for these services in front of the council, hopefully in the October range, and the project will proceed as we are working on those contracts. Thank you, and that ends our manager's report tonight.
All right. And with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you and good night.